One man convinced everyone he was a doctor at the World Health Organization. For 18 years. Wow. This is Jean-Claude Romand. Let's call him JC. This all happens in a quiet region in eastern France, literally minutes away from Geneva, from Switzerland. JC has a wife, he has 2 kids, lots of friends, proud parents, and every morning he says, I'm going to work. He never went to work. Not once in 18 years. Let's have a look at JC's life. JC looks and acts normal, quiet, polite, intelligent. He lives in a suburban French townhouse. Breakfast at the table probably. Because who questions a doctor at the WHO? Here's where it breaks. Let's go back to 1975. JC fails a second-year medical exam. This is bad for JC, but he doesn't get expelled. He doesn't lose everything. He could have retaken the exam, but admitting failure was harder than lying forever. So he says, I passed! And now he can never go back. And here's the part that people miss or misunderstand. He doesn't tell them right away that he's got a job working at the WHO. He failed the exam in 1975. Then after a couple of years of saying still studying, late 70s that lie had changed to I work at WHO. So he'd let the lie grow. Still studying, got an interview, turns into I work at the WHO. Okay, the absurdity. So what does he do every day? 18 years is a long time to do nothing. Every morning, he drives to Geneva. And this is the part that makes it kind of worse. Not a long commute, 10 to 20 minutes. It's 5 miles. And he could have picked a much longer commute to waste more time, but he didn't. But then again, is it close enough to be believable? Close enough that nobody ever checked, I guess? So he arrives, he parks his car, and then he might go to a library, public buildings, or just sit in his car on his own for hours. Then he goes home and goes, long day at the WHO, for 18 years. And here's another thing. He needed money, so he talked to his friends and family. He didn't ask for money right away. It took years, about 10 years. But now when he says, I have access to special WHO investments, which are low risk, high return, it sounds believable. Because by the time people invested, they'd already trusted him for a decade. They gave him money, he didn't invest it. In fact, he used the new money to pay some of the old investors' money back and keep the rest. A Ponzi scheme. And this is when things start to fall apart. His wife questions, where is this money coming from? We've got bills to pay. Early investors from the Ponzi scheme want some of their money back. His mistress wants proof. More about her later. This is when JC realizes something terrifying. If the truth comes out, he's not just unemployed, he's nobody. And to him, that's worse than death. This gets really dark really fast. So JC doesn't confess to failed exams or anything. He doesn't run. He decides to erase the truth and anyone that could challenge it. He unalives his wife while she's sleeping. Then his 2 children, a 5-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl. Then his parents. Then he attempts to unalive his mistress, but she survives. I told you she'd be back. Then he sets fire to the house, where they all live together, I guess. And he takes sleeping pills. He wants this to be seen as a murder-suicide. But he survives. So boom, JC gets arrested. And then when the police investigate his life, here's what they find. No medical degree, no WHO job, nothing for nearly 2 decades. 18 years. JC was never a doctor. JC is tried and found guilty and is sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 22 years. This is important. Later though, his sentence wasn't reduced, but the minimum term was down to 20 years. This law said he could ask the prison to release him in 2019, and in 2019 they said yes. So that's it. He's released. After murdering his wife, his children, and his parents, he was free. All this happened because he failed an exam and decided lying and removing anyone who could challenge those lies was easier than telling the truth. And nobody checked. Until next time.